Hey guys, it's Scarlett. Welcome back to my second video on the channel. Today we're going to be building a vet clinic in San Sequoia. The vet clinic will be inspired by the picture that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video, and there will also be a tour at the end of the video if you guys are interested. So obviously based off of our inspo pick, I knew I wanted to do a craftsman style, so I thought using a lot of growing together would be wise, and also a lot of cats and dogs. This build mostly contains items from growing together, cats and dogs, and get to work. Just because there's not that many items for vet clinics, surprisingly, with cats and dogs, even though that's the pack that they came in. So I did have to use some of the stuff from get to work. But honestly, all you really need for this is growing together. A lot of the other stuff could easily be replaced with other packs, like a lot of little clutter items and stuff like that. So yeah, you only really need one pack for this. I definitely wanted it to be more limited packs rather than my last build where I kind of just use whatever. And so I hope you guys enjoy it. This took me a while to figure out. I did have some idea of what I wanted the front of the building to look like because I wanted it to resemble the picture that I showed you guys, but I didn't want to copy it exactly, and sometimes things don't always translate well into the game. So you can see me redoing the roof a lot, but I knew that I wanted to do blue, and I remembered that there was this awesome blue swatch within Growing Together, and also the columns are a pretty similar style. I think there's another kind of column that would match as well, but I just wanted to try and stick with growing together as much as possible. I also knew that I didn't need the vet clinic to be too big, which is why I put it on this lot in the town. Typically there's a vacation rental on this lot, but I didn't think that was necessary. I don't really use vacation rental lots that much, and I would be interested to know if you guys do. Typically, if I have my Sims go on vacation, I'll take them to like Granite Falls or something like that. I don't really find myself like vacationing in other regular residential worlds too much, which is interesting. Maybe just because I played the game for so long before we had vacation rental lots, so I never really got into the habit of doing that. But maybe I'll try to, and maybe I'll try to build a vacation lot because I think that would be really cool. I know Airbnb is super popular nowadays, so it would be cool to build some Airbnb style builds, and just building houses with like a vacation home in mind would be really interesting. So let me know if you guys would want to see that. I would want to try to build it in some of the worlds that I think people would want a vacation to in real life, like even San Sequoia, to be honest, because it is pretty similar to San Francisco. You can see the bridge in the background and everything. It's clearly inspired by San Francisco, so I think building a vacation lot here actually does make sense. But I would consider doing other ones as well. I think even the world that comes with Horse Ranch, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Maybe it'll come to me, but even that world would be interesting because it's very much like a Western ranch style world, and I think that would be a lot different from what people are used to. So I could see a nice, cool vacation lot going there too, but that's something I would definitely consider doing in the future. I think I mentioned this during the tour, but I also really want to start doing some more real-time gameplay with you guys. I think it would be really fun to do some form of challenge, so I'll probably try and brainstorm, and of course you can leave your ideas down below. But I think speed builds are really fun, especially when I'm just starting out my channel, to kind of give you guys an idea of my build style and the kind of objects I gravitate towards and stuff, and see if maybe you're similar. I just think speed builds are really good, and also when I do voiceovers, you guys can get to know me a little bit more that way as well, and I'm not too distracted by the gameplay. So yeah, this build was kind of hard to figure out a layout for. I tried a few different ones, but we ended up putting the front desk area on the left. You can see that it's supposed to be on that side where the podiums are now. Those end up going by the front door. And then I did end up having that long skinny hallway. I didn't really want to have that, but I do feel like in a vet clinic in real life you would have stuff like that, so it didn't really bother me too much. But when I'm building Sims houses and stuff, I try to avoid having hallways like that. That's just kind of my preference. I don't know, but maybe some people include those often. I'm not sure. So we have 2 exam rooms, 1 surgery room that also has the medicine crafting table in it. And then I tried to include some other stuff that maybe isn't necessary for gameplay, but I thought would be cool for more of like the realism aspect. So like I said, I included that front desk area. And I also included a break room for the staff, and also a nice backyard area where you can take your pets and train them, or hang out back there before or after their appointment if you wanted to. And I also tried to have a couple other options depending on what your Sims budget is. So obviously we have the regular podiums, but I also put the medicine vending machine so that you could easily just buy some medicine from the vending machine if that's what you prefer to do. The color scheme of this build is very much blue and like tan and orange. I tried to kind of keep a similar color scheme throughout the entire thing and just add little accents that would work nicely. The orange definitely came from those windows I chose. Those are from the Growing Together pack. So I wanted to bring both the blue and the orange from the exterior inside without making it like too matchy-matchy. And I think I managed to accomplish that. I also wasn't sure about the doors and the archway because I wasn't sure if they looked too much like they were meant for a house or something. But honestly, I like the way it turned out. I think it makes it look more of like a cozy type environment rather than like sterile, like a hospital or something like that. I definitely want it to be more welcoming. That's what I tend to see with vet clinics in real life, at least around where I live. Sometimes they're more homey and comfortable in comparison to something like a hospital. So that's what I wanted to go for. Instead of putting a door at the front of the building beside the main entrance, I decided to just put windows because I wasn't sure what I would use that door for if I were to have a second one. And I thought that windows just kind of made more sense with the style I wanted to go for, and also just the house itself. I feel like it looks better in The Sims than if I had just added a random door. And it wasn't really necessary either because that's where we ended up putting the front desk. The only thing I could see using that space for is maybe a staff entrance or something like that. But we do have a staff entrance from the inside of the building, so I feel like it's fine. And I also didn't want it to be too confusing or anything like that. I was going to put a window in the front there, but then I decided to put a vet sign instead to kind of match the inspiration photo again. So I definitely did make a lot of changes, especially to the front. I didn't keep the front exactly the same. I feel like it does kind of keep the same energy, same vibe as before though, which I like. But I had to use my imagination for the other 3 sides of the building because obviously I only had one angle, and I didn't really take the time to look at all of the photos of that particular vet clinic I could find because I just wanted to use it as kind of a starting point rather than like a complete recreation or something. So yeah, we also have a small waiting area. I went back and forth between what I wanted to put in that spot a lot because sometimes you'll have a bunch of chairs, sometimes you'll have benches, and there was not as much space for Sims to wait as I wanted. But then I realized that honestly there's only 2 exam rooms and a surgery room, so I figured that there probably wouldn't be that many Sims here at once anyway, and then maybe the Sims would kind of gravitate towards the backyard or something like that, but rarely do the Sims actually sit down and stay sitting down, so it wasn't too big of an issue for me, but I definitely had to think about what to put there. I thought about using that cats and dogs couch that you just saw, but I didn't really like the colors for this particular build, so I ended up changing it to one of the Growing Together sofas. And I was also going to use those Home Chef Hustle counters there because I really loved the color, and I thought it kind of tied everything together. But something about the corner cabinet or the corner counter having the cutting boards in it threw me off. And I know that those Jungle Adventure counters there, they kind of look more fitting for this kind of setting. So I ended up switching them, but I was having a hard time deciding which one I wanted to go with because I really love the blue and yellow of those counters. I also used those in my last video. I used them in the motel, and so I didn't know if I should use them again or not, but maybe I'll definitely try and use those in the future because I think that they could work really nicely. I'm glad I bought Home Chef Hustle. It took me a while to, but I really do use the stand mixer, the pizza oven, all of the objects, especially the kitchen set though, in pretty much all of the households I play with now. So I'm glad I got it. I think it's worth it for sure. Just literally just for the counters. It is overpriced though. I will say that. EA definitely does charge too much for most of their packs, in my opinion. There's only been a handful where I've truly been like, I would spend $60 on this. Especially depending on where you live. Like for some people, it can be way more in comparison. Or it just seems like more in comparison, even if, the conversion rate is equivalent and whatever. I also made sure to include lots of decor around the building. So I put a lot of those hand sanitizer bottles and paper towel, and I wanted to make sure I had trash cans and anything that I thought would be fitting. But like I said, there really isn't too many objects, and I didn't want to go in with any CC because I want you guys to be able to download this if you're interested. And I mentioned this in the tour, but you can see the bath was going to go there. I tried to make it work, but I ended up not putting it there. I wish I could have put it inside, but honestly, I just didn't really have the right space for it, and I didn't really want to change the layout that I already had set in stone. So I didn't end up including a bath, but that's definitely the spot that I would have probably put one rather than creating a whole new room or something. Now you can see we're working on the staff room. I wanted to have 2 desks at first because I thought that there would be at least 2 vets working here, but we could only really fit one without me expanding the room, and I didn't think it was that necessary because, again, I don't think the Sims will all need to use something at once, similar to the waiting room area. So for the staff room, I just went with the 1 computer. I did put 2 diplomas, one for each of the vets, in my imagination, of course. And I think 1 computer should be good for them. They also have a little kitchenette, and they have a simple couch sitting area for them to enjoy. I went back and forth on the layout of the staff room a lot too, specifically where to fit that vending machine because it needs like 3 tiles in front of it. And I guess that's because it can fall over and kill your Sims. So be careful with that, of course. But unless you want that to happen, then of course, by all means, go ahead. But it can definitely kill your Sims. I guess that's an interesting function of it. However, I just wanted it to be a regular fridge, and it made it harder to find a place to put it because I didn't want it to not work at all. So I ended up putting the kitchenette pretty much right beside the door that takes you into the reception area. And the desk ends up staying where it is pretty much. But you can see I switched this around a lot. That's interesting. Even with the sped up footage, you can see that you can still see the process of me going back and forth a ton. But the next area that we're working on is the front desk. I put 2 cash registers, again, for the realism aspect, and some chairs. And then I just tried to add a bunch of friendly looking decor that they would probably have up at the reception. So they have a lot of like pet statues, treats, stuff like that. And then also some more realistic stuff like those file folders that are on the wall and a fire extinguisher, stuff like that. So I tried to keep it as realistic as possible. That's honestly my favorite way to play, even if the gameplay doesn't always line up like that. I would much prefer to add those spaces because just why not, There's no harm in it. So that's usually the way I like to play. Next, I'm thinking of building a board game cafe. I'm interested to see how that's going to go and what style I end up picking and stuff like that. I would say the style that I probably struggle with the most is modern. I sometimes can pull it off, but typically I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm hoping that it'll turn out well. I don't know if I'm going to go for modern yet or what I'm going to go for, but I'm going to try and make it cool and super detailed and stuff. So that will probably be out sometime next week. And I'm hoping to get this video up as soon as possible. I hope you guys are enjoying my content so far. I'm really excited to start making content regularly and sharing with you guys and maybe forming a little community, getting build suggestions, and also to start streaming because I would love to interact with you guys while I'm building and get ideas. I think that's really fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then now we're going to talk a little bit about the color scheme. So you can see I'm adding a bunch of paneling. Initially, I was going to go for all white paneling. Then I wanted to go all blue paneling. Then I decided that the most interesting way to do it would be to add a mix. There are 2 different blues on that paneling from, I think, Cats and Dogs. there's the darker blue and the lighter blue, and so I use the lighter blue in each of the exam rooms, and I use the dark blue just in that waiting room area, the front area, and I thought that that looked pretty nice. And then of course I used the white paneling as well, just for some variety. I really love the way the color scheme came together, and I noticed that I had those tiles from Growing Together, I think. They're from Growing Together or For Rent, I think. But I had them on the floor for a long time, and then I ended up changing them to a different tile that's a similar color. I just didn't know if I liked necessarily how bright the tiles were and the texture of them. I do love them normally, I just didn't know if they fit with this particular build, but we do end up going for a very similar floor color. Now you can see I'm decorating. Again, there's not that many posters, surprisingly. So there are a couple of repeats throughout, but I try not to put them near each other. And I think we still managed to get somewhat of a good variety. I also liked putting those x-ray and anatomy posters and stuff in the surgery room and adding all of the little tools and stuff. I thought that it just kind of came together really nicely. You can see me adding that cute little calendar from Cats and Dogs, some of these paw print details. I never use this stuff unless I'm building something like this. So it's nice to revisit it because it doesn't feel like the items are too old or anything or overused, because like I said, I barely ever use them for anything. So it is nice to have some variety once in a while. And we've gotten a lot of nice new objects with the new packs that have come out lately. As I'm recording this, today we just found out that the title of the next expansion pack is Hobbies and Businesses and Hobbies, I think it's called. I don't know if that's the official title, but that's what it said in the leak. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to contain. That's all the information we have right now, so we don't really have any pictures or anything to go off of. But it got me thinking, like, I'm not sure what they would put in that, because I feel like a lot of the skills that we already have, like, you can already sell a lot of stuff at the market table or whatever that item is called. You can sell food, you can sell knitted stuff, cross stitch, basically anything. And so it was kind of hard for me to think, like, what kind of skills they would add. I know there's a ton of different stuff to do, but I feel like they've hit a lot of the main ones. One that I did think of, though, is maybe a sewing machine, because you can knit your own clothes, but I was thinking if they added a sewing machine, you could sew your own clothes, and it would be kind of different. I don't know if you'd be able to sell them at the market table, though, but you could definitely use Plopsy or another platform like that to sell them on, so that's one idea I had, but I couldn't really think of what else could come in it. And so that makes me interested to see what they're going to do. I really was convinced that the next pack was going to be a time travel pack, just based on the hints. And it really did seem like that's what they were going for, but I guess that was maybe to either trick us, or that really just wasn't their intention and they wanted to hint at the event instead. Like for The Sims, I think it's the Nostalgia Now event or the 25th birthday event. But in other news, we are getting a release of The Sims 1 and 2 on PC. I'm going to try to get that as soon as possible. I've actually never played The Sims 1, and I've played The Sims 2 for maybe like 10 minutes because one of my friends had it when I was younger, but I was mostly just watching her play. So I've actually never dove into playing with The Sims 2 or The Sims 1 before, and so I think it would be really fun if I posted some videos on my channel of me playing those for the first time, and that way you guys that maybe have played it before, or even if you've never played it before, you can revisit that and see how it holds up compared to the games we have now. I know a lot of people like aspects from past games that aren't in The Sims 4, and I have the most experience with Sims 3. Sims 3 was the first Sims game I played, and I played it for many years, and I really love it. There's aspects of it that I miss, and certain aspects that make it better than The Sims 4 in certain ways. So I'm really curious to see what I'll think of Sims 1 and Sims 2 once I've played them. So yeah, that's one of the plans for my channel, one of the soon-to-come things, hopefully. And I think we're almost done with the build because I cut out the landscaping. We have a little bit left, but you can see I'm kind of adding the finishing touches inside at this point. I'm just trying to add some more wall decor. I'm adding some welcome mats and just other little details to make sure that it feels really complete. I noticed in the motel that even after I had recorded and uploaded the video, of the speed build for that, and when I was going to upload it on the gallery, I ended up changing some things in it. So I want to be sure that I include all of my changes in the video if possible, unless of course something is unplayable or I need to swap out an item or something like that. But one example of that would be that I actually changed the fence that I used for the parking spaces in the parking lot of the motel, because I realized that there is a fence from Get to Work. It's called like the window shopping, something with window shopping in the name, and that's actually a completely flat white fence. So I used that and it looks way better. So if you get that build from the gallery, you guys will be able to have that fence instead of the short one, but the one that lifts off the ground. So I'll try to include improvements like that in the future if I end up running into a situation like that again. If, by the way, I haven't mentioned it in my last video, but my gallery ID, I changed it because it's been the same since I got The Sims 4, which was over 10 years ago now, or maybe about 10 years ago. My gallery ID was Horses Love Me 123 because I was pretty young. So I just went in and finally changed it to, I think it's ScarletHex_. I'll either put it on the screen or in the description when I double check. Okay guys, so we are pretty much done with the speed build footage today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and now we're gonna get to the tour, so I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, now I'm gonna show you the finished vet clinic. So out front we have multiple vet signs. We have one over here, one over the door, and one up at the top here. You can also see the landscaping, which I didn't include in the speed build footage. I didn't think it was necessary, but if you want me to include the landscaping footage in the future, be sure to let me know and I will. Let's start at the front. Okay, so in here we have the 2 podiums that you need to check your Sim's pet in at. We have the surgery room, but we'll get there in a second. This is the waiting area where your Sim and their pet can wait for their appointment. We have a little pet bed and everything. And over here is the front desk area. Obviously, there are no receptionists at vet clinics in The Sims, but I still decided to include it anyway for the realism aspect of it. You can see throughout the vet clinic we have lots of little pet decor and other things that I thought would be fitting for this kind of build. Through here we have our surgery room, so obviously we have the surgery station, the medicine crafting station, and a counter here with some supplies that a vet might need. Through this hallway we have a small bathroom, and we have 2 exam rooms. They're basically the exact same, just flipped. So we'll take a look at one over here. So we have a cat poster, some cat breeds, and another counter space. And of course the exam table. And this side is the exact same thing. And through here, this is the room for the vets to get their supplies. Again, they wouldn't really do this in the game, but for the realism aspect I liked it. So there's some pet food, some treats, and a notebook. Maybe one of the vets was writing something down. And obviously lots of space to put more supplies. Through here we have the medicine vending machine in case you don't want to pay for your Sim's pet to have an appointment. And then in here we have a staff room. So we have a desk with a computer, there's the vet's diplomas, and a vending machine, basically just a little kitchenette over here with some more posters, and a couch. And that connects us to the front desk area right here. Then if you go out this door at the back, we have a nice big backyard space with some seating for your Sims, some dog toys, a hose, and a bunch of the dog training stuff. I thought this would be useful because I know when I'm playing I typically forget about it completely, or there's nowhere that actually has it and I don't want to put it on my Sims lot, so I thought I would include it here so you can kind of come here for 2 purposes if you wanted to. I was thinking about including a bath, which you could probably see in the speed build footage. I had one over here, but I ended up moving it just because I didn't really think it fit very nicely, and unfortunately there was nowhere to put it inside. But I would suggest putting one here if you think that you'll use it. I just think that if you end up putting a bath here, Sims will come and use the bath, which is not the goal. I wanted it to be for the pets, but The Sims does its own thing, so I just left it out. And then we have this little space over here with another picnic table and some trash cans. So that's basically the whole building. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the speed build. Please leave your build suggestions down below. Soon I want to start doing more speed builds, obviously, but I also want to do some building in real time with you guys. So maybe some kind of build challenge or something like that could be fun. So yeah, just drop your ideas down below, and I'm really excited to see you guys in the next video. Bye!